The W123 is one of Mercedes' most popular and most successful models, and today is a stalwart example of a classic car that you can use every day, like this one for example. But what's it like to live with? I've owned this 1983 200 for 2 years now. I've put around 8,000 miles on it and I've been everywhere with it, driven it in town, on motorways, across plough fields, on the German Autobahn, around the Nürburgring. I've restored it, I've put 5 people in it, so I know what it's like to live with one. Let's find out. First up, if you want to buy yourself a 123, check out our 123 buying guide for everything you need to look for. But as for values, they are creeping up. These are no longer a 1,500 quid snotter. For a kind of reasonable, roadworthy W123, start your search around £4,000 to £5,000. For a nice saloon or estate, you can creep that up to around 10 grand. But a really mint condition 280 coupe can be double that. These are not cheap cars anymore, but they are a classic that, despite originating from the mid-1970s, can be used every single day. For a start, they're a big saloon car or estate, and that means they're practical. Come and have a look inside. Of course, that staple Mercedes door, very solid. Inside, actually good levels of equipment, even on a low spec car like this. So you've got a nice, really powerful heater, you've got a radio, you've got great illumination, and of course these big sprung horsehair seats. Fantastically comfortable, loads of space. I'm about 6 feet tall and I've got loads of headroom. You can get a sunroof in here, really good visibility, and everything that you touch just feels really high quality and like it will last the years. And of course you get that staple when you shut the doors. Really, really nice touch. These are a high quality product when Mercedes built cars up to a standard rather than down to a price. Moving around to the boot, big car, remember, and again, you can get loads of stuff in them. Let's have a quick look, pop that open. And I've got all sorts of bits and pieces in here. It's worth carrying a bit of oil and so on. This is a classic car after all. But look, loads of space in here. In fact, I'll even show you, if you fancy doing a bit of kidnapping in your spare time, you can, because you can actually fit 2 people in here. So if you can't get a space on a campsite, just sleep in your 123. Very handy. Other than that, there are other benefits to certain aspects of this car. As a classic to own and to live with, a 123 is remarkably cost effective. Even the newest example is over 40 years old, and that means that in the UK it is eligible for historic registration status. And that means free road tax, we like that, and it is technically MOT exempt as well, although you would be foolish to not get an MOT done on your classic. For what it costs, 40 or 50 quid, have someone else look at it, but still, not expensive. Then there's fuel economy. The worst I've had from this car in town as a 2-litre petrol are around 25 mpg, which isn't great, but a Cortina of the same era isn't going to do much better, so that's worth considering. And on a run on the motorway, the best I've ever had was 34 to the gallon, which really, for the size of the thing, 2-litre carbureted petrol, is not bad at all. And then there's insurance, which for a 123 is also remarkably affordable. For a start, if you want to insure this car with our friends at Peter Best, we'll put an example quote on screen now for the usual criteria, and that is very cheap. But let me give you an idea what it's like for me. I'm 26, which is not a teenager, but also not old as far as insurance is concerned. I've got 3 points on my licence, naughty naughty, and I work in the media, which, as many people will tell you, is quite highly rated for car insurance. And yet for this car, valued at £9,000, I pay £210 a year. Well, it's cold and gloomy outside and a bit damp in the air, as you can see, but I'm happy to be in the 123 because this car just makes you feel invincible. Honestly, I've driven this car in 30-degree heat, I've driven it in 60-mile-an-hour winds and driving rain, and you just feel so assured of yourself that you know you're going to get where you want to get in a 123 because it won't ever let you down. I've owned this car for 2 years, I've put 8,000 or 9,000 miles on it. It was in storage for 1 winter, that explains the low mileage, and I've had 1 mechanical issue in that time, and to be entirely transparent with you, that was a failed alternator that was technically my fault. I badly jump-started another car with this car, and in the process I cooked the battery and the alternator, which left me stranded. And actually, once I jump-started the car, as long as I ran it with no lights on, it still got me home, even with no alternator. So it's practical, it's cheap to run, it's comfortable, it's durable, it's reliable. What else can I tell you? Well, if you want to own a W123, let's not forget, even the newest one is going to be over 40 years old. And that does mean you will have to look for rust. These cars, they are bomb-proof mechanically, they can rot everywhere. But that needn't be an issue if you buy carefully and don't find one with any worrying rotting anywhere like the roof. Because you can buy repair panels for these cars for pretty much everything, and often at remarkably affordable prices. I put 2 new front wings on this car a year ago and they were £100 a side, brand new. And in general, parts support for these cars is superb. You can buy most bits mechanically or structurally brand new, and all the little bits like the trims and the seats and the switches, they are abundant second-hand because of the amount of these cars that have been consigned to scrap through how rotten they are. But do just consider that point. Recently, I had a wheel trim fall off this car while I was driving along. I got home and I had to buy a new one. For one second-hand wheel trim was £50. So bearing in mind I said earlier, it only cost me just over 200 quid to insure this car. To replace all four will cost me the same as a year's insurance, or about what a blown head gasket MGF is worth. Then there's upgrades. If you're going to use a car like this every day, and you can, this is one of the best examples of a classic you can use day to day, you might want to improve a few little bits about it. For a start, 1970s lights are not the best, so I would recommend some LED bulbs to upgrade it. I've put them in everything in this car except for the indicators, because of course they wouldn't flash properly. Our friends at Classic Car LEDs will do you a great deal on a full complement of bulbs you can put in this car. Osram do some really nice ones I've got on the interior switches, and again, it's a nice little upgrade that reduces your power consumption, which if you do have an alternator fail is nice to have, but also it makes the car more visible on the road, more usable at night. It's the difference between an old car and a car you can just use, and you know what, really nice touch. And for the sake of 20 or 30 quid to do the whole car, can't recommend LED bulbs enough. I've also upgraded the radio. I've put some more modern JVC speakers in the back to upgrade the sound quality, and for the radio itself, I do like to listen to the radio. I've put a modern but retro looking Blaupunkt DAB Bluetooth unit, so I can connect my phone, I can listen to my Mariah Carey and my Bee Gees and my Cheryl Cole, all the ones I like, and of course I've got a digital radio so I can listen to my Classic FM if I want to. Then there's other bits and pieces you can do. You can put more modern tyres on a classic car like this. You can still get the classic style. Personally, I've got some modern Falcons on it, and they're brilliant. They are really, really good in all conditions. They never lose grip, and they even held up to some aggressive and really quite boisterous driving I did when I took it around the Nürburgring. So my recommendation is get some modern tyres on one of these cars and you're golden. Pretty much anything mechanical on a 123 you can do yourself at home with a basic toolkit. But what if you fancy a sort of 70s, 80s classic saloon car and maybe the 123 is not quite for you? What else could you have? Well, there's the BMW 5 Series, of course, either the E12 that we've compared this very car to, or an E28. Now, both of those are quite rare these days, particularly the E12. They rot just as badly as 123s do, and they don't enjoy anything like the parts support. What's more, you can't get a diesel, particularly the E12, and you can't get an estate model. So, for me, the Merc still wins out. So, really, that's about it. You could argue a Peugeot 504, but it's really a generation behind this, and it doesn't feel as still modern and refined as this does, particularly at speed. You could, I suppose, argue some Audis, but Audis of this era are a bit niche and a bit weird, and a Jaguar XJ is not going to offer anything like the reliability and the durability, and if anything, it'll rot even more. Don't go thinking that a 123 is a fast car though. Admittedly, this is a 200 petrol, but this is far from the least powerful model you could get. A 200 diesel has got half the power this has got, and they are not fast cars. But even a 280 isn't a quick car, to be honest. It's got 156 horsepower, but you're still not getting to 60 in under 10 seconds, and you'll drink a lot more fuel doing it. So in summary then, if you want a classic car that you can use every day, all year round, no matter the conditions, you can put 5 people in it, you can barrel along the motorway at 70-80 miles an hour, you can be comfortable, refined, you've got high quality, you've got reliability, you've got great parts and club support, but every time you get in it, at the end of a long, hard day at the office when it's freezing cold outside, you get in and you feel special. For me, there really is only one choice. It's as easy as W123. Thanks very much for watching, everybody. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to Classics World for all future content. There's loads of Mercedes stuff on the channel. Do go and have a look and comment down below. Have you owned one of these cars? Have you lived with it? How have you found it? And of course, go and visit our friends at Peter Best Insurance to get some great value insurance for your 123 or indeed any other classic car. For now though, I'm just going to waft on home. Ta-ra!